Plant 1, Lavender Multi-Product Perennial. Evergreen income. Let's start with lavender. And I want you to think about it differently than you probably have before. Most people grow lavender because it's pretty. It smells incredible, the bees love it, and it fills a garden bed without much fuss. All of that is true. But the gardeners who are actually making money from lavender figured out something that hobby growers usually miss. Lavender isn't one product. It's an entire product line growing quietly in your yard. Here's what I mean. You plant a row of lavender. In early summer, you harvest fresh bundles and take them to the farmer's market. People buy them on the spot, because fresh lavender is one of those things that almost sells itself. You're pricing those bundles anywhere from $6 to $12 each, sometimes more for larger cuts. But that's just the beginning. You dry a portion of those same bundles. Dried lavender holds its fragrance for months, sometimes longer, and people buy dried lavender for home decor, for weddings, for gift baskets, for holiday wreaths. The market doesn't go away when the season ends. You're selling cured product through fall and into winter. Then you go one step further and fill small linen sachets with dried flowers, lavender sachets. People buy them to tuck into drawers, hang in closets, give as baby shower gifts. A flat of 24 sachets, maybe $3 in materials, can sell for $60 to $80 at a craft fair or through an Etsy shop. And if you want to invest in a small countertop distiller eventually, you can press the flowers into essential oil. Lavender oil is one of the best-selling essential oils in the world, and small batch, locally grown oil commands premium prices from soap makers, candle companies, and natural beauty brands. One plant, 4 or 5 revenue streams. And here's the part that really sets lavender apart from almost everything else on this list. It's a perennial. You plant it once. It comes back every single year. Some lavender plants live for 15 to 20 years with minimal care. You are literally installing a long-term income asset into your soil. Now, if you want the best results, variety selection matters. For oil yield and visual appeal, English lavender is your best starting point. Hidcote is a top choice. Compact, deeply purple, cold hardy, and it produces the dense flower heads that look beautiful in bundles. Vera is another excellent variety for oil production. Both are forgiving for beginners and reliable year after year. What does lavender actually need to thrive? Full sun, at least 6 to 8 hours a day. Well-drained soil. And honestly, not too much attention. Lavender evolved in dry Mediterranean hillsides. It actually prefers lean, slightly sandy soil over rich garden beds. If you're in a wet climate, raise your beds or grow in containers to protect the roots. Overwatering is the #1 way people lose lavender plants. Don't do it. Getting started is straightforward. Buy starter plants rather than growing from seed. Lavender germinates slowly and inconsistently. Start with 12 to 24 plants. See how they establish in your specific conditions, then scale up. Many serious lavender growers work with 50 to 100 plants once they realize just how little maintenance is required once the plants hit year 2. The farmer's market appeal is real. Fresh lavender bundles attract people from 3 booths away, and once someone buys from you once and smells what quality lavender actually is, they come back. That's the lavender opportunity. A perennial crop that multiplies your options every single season. Plant 2, gourmet mushrooms, high margin, tiny space needed. Let me tell you something that surprises almost everyone the first time they hear it. One of the most profitable things you can grow at home has nothing to do with sunlight, soil quality, or how much land you have. It grows in the dark, in a shed, in a closet, and it's ready in 2 weeks. Gourmet mushrooms are not what most people think about when they imagine a backyard income. But the numbers are hard to ignore, and once you understand how the economics work, you'll wonder why more people aren't doing this. Oyster mushrooms, shiitake, and lion's mane are the 3 varieties worth knowing first. These aren't the commodity mushrooms sitting in plastic trays at the grocery store for $2 a pound. These are specialty fungi that chefs specifically seek out, that health food stores can't keep stocked, and that farmers market customers will pay $10 to $25 per pound to get their hands on. Here's how the growing process actually works. Mushrooms don't grow in soil, they grow on substrate. Think of substrate as their food source. The most is compressed sawdust or pasteurized straw, packed into 5-pound blocks. You inoculate that block with mushroom spawn, essentially the mushroom's root system, seal it up, cut some holes or slits for the fruiting bodies to push through, and then hang it or place it somewhere with humidity and indirect airflow. 2 to 4 weeks later, you have mushrooms erupting from the block in clusters. That's your first flush. After harvesting, the block rests, rehydrates, and produces a second flush. Then a third. Most blocks give you 2 to 3 good harvests before the yield drops off. The math at small scale is genuinely exciting. A 5-pound block costs about $5 to $8 to produce if you're mixing your own substrate and buying spawn in bulk. That block produces 1 to 2 pounds of oyster mushrooms across its life. At $15 a pound, a conservative market price, you're looking at $15 to $30 of revenue from a $5 investment. Some growers run 50 to 100 blocks on a rolling cycle and generate consistent weekly income from a space the size of a spare bathroom. The key market is restaurants. This is where the real money lives. A chef who wants fresh oyster mushrooms every Thursday will pay more per pound than any farmer's market customer, and they'll pay it reliably, week after week, on a standing order. To land a restaurant account, show up with a sample bag. Let the chef cook with it. That's usually all it takes. The learning curve is real and worth respecting. Mushroom cultivation is essentially applied microbiology. Contamination is your enemy. Green or black mold on a block means that block is lost. You need to understand pasteurization, sterile technique when inoculating, and how to manage humidity in your growing space. A humidifier and a digital hygrometer are your 2 most important tools. Keep relative humidity between 80 and 90% during fruiting, and mist the fruiting blocks lightly once or twice a day. Start with oyster mushrooms, specifically pink or golden oyster. They're fast, forgiving, and visually striking at market. Once you're comfortable with the process, introduce lion's mane. It looks like a white pom-pom and sells for $20 to $30 a pound at health food stores because of its documented cognitive health properties. That's your premium product. Gourmet mushrooms reward people who pay attention to the details. Get those right, and the returns are unlike almost anything else in small-scale food production. Plant 3. Microgreens fastest turnaround, highest dollars per square foot. Picture this. You plant seeds on a Monday morning. By the following Monday or Tuesday, you're harvesting. By Saturday, you're selling. Your money is back in your hand in less than 2 weeks, and the cycle starts again immediately. No other crop on this list, no other crop in backyard agriculture, full stop, compresses the time between investment and income the way microgreens do. And no other crop produces as much revenue per square foot. Not lavender, not herbs, not garlic. Microgreens win that comparison without much debate. So what exactly are they? Microgreens are vegetable and herb seedlings harvested right after the first true leaves appear, typically at 1 to 3 inches tall. They're not sprouts, which are harvested even earlier and grown in water. Microgreens grow in a thin layer of growing medium, develop actual leaf structure and color, and carry intensely concentrated flavor. A microgreen pea shoot tastes powerfully, almost sweetly, of fresh peas. A radish microgreen has sharp, peppery heat. Sunflower microgreens are nutty and satisfying, almost like a garnish you could eat by the handful. The varieties worth starting with are pea shoots, sunflower, radish, broccoli, and amaranth. Each has a distinct flavor profile, a different harvest window, and a different price point. Sunflower and pea shoots are your bread and butter, high yield, popular flavor, fast harvest in 8 to 12 days. Specialty varieties like amaranth, shiso, and nasturtium command higher prices and attract chefs looking for unusual garnishes. The setup is remarkably minimal. A wire rack, standard 10 by 20 inch black growing trays, a simple LED grow light, a bag of soilless growing medium, and seeds. Most growers are fully operational for under $200. That's not a typo. $200. Here's the economics. A single 10 by 20 inch tray costs between $1 and $3 to grow. Seeds, medium, water, a fraction of your electricity. That tray, depending on the variety, yields roughly half a pound to 1 full pound of cut microgreens. At farmers markets, pea shoots and sunflower greens sell for $8 to $15 per half pound. Specialty varieties push higher. Run 50 trays on a staggered planting schedule, 10 new trays every 2 days, and you always have product ready to harvest. Always. Restaurants are the most valuable accounts. Microgreens are perishable. A restaurant cannot stockpile them. They need a supplier who shows up on the same day, every week, with fresh product in the same weight and quality. Become that supplier for 2 or 3 restaurants, and you have a real, recurring income stream that runs year-round, regardless of season, entirely indoors. The one honest challenge is this. As microgreens have grown in popularity, competition has increased in urban markets. The way you win is not by being the cheapest. The way you win is by being the most reliable and the most interesting. Every order identical in weight. Every delivery on time. And always 1 or 2 varieties that nobody else at your market carries. Mold is the most common problem beginners face. It usually comes from overwatering, poor airflow, or planting seeds too densely. The fix is simple. Bottom water your trays rather than misting from above, and run a small fan on low across your rack to keep air moving. Those 2 adjustments eliminate most mold issues. Microgreens are where people discover that you don't need land, weather, or a long wait to grow real income. You just need a rack, some seeds, and a little patience. Plant 4. Bonsai trees. Slow, artistic, builds value over time. Every other plant on this list sells by weight. By the pound, by the bundle, by the tray. Bonsai is different. Bonsai sells by story, by age. By the amount of skill and time that has been pressed into a single, small tree. And the market reflects that in a way that surprises most people when they see the numbers for the first time. A 5-year-old juniper bonsai, properly trained with good trunk movement and a clean nebari, that's the surface root spread at the base, can sell for $150 to $300. A well-developed 10-year-old specimen with deadwood, natural taper, and the look of something ancient and weathered, $500 is not unusual. Exceptional trees sell for significantly more, and at established bonsai shows, 4-figure prices for quality material are not rare at all. Here's the insight that changes how you think about this. You're not selling a plant. You're selling compressed time. A buyer who wants a tree that looks like it's been shaped for a decade cannot grow one themselves in less time than that. They're paying for your years of patient attention. The business model is a rolling portfolio. You have trees at different stages. Some in year 1, just being started from nursery stock or cuttings, some in year 4 with developing trunk character, some nearly finished and approaching their peak sale value. Every year that passes, your inventory appreciates. You are not depreciating assets. You are building them. The best species for beginners who want to grow for profit are juniper, Chinese elm, and trident maple. Juniper is the classic, rugged, drought-tolerant, and visually the most recognizable bonsai tree. Chinese elm is more forgiving with watering, grows vigorously, and develops beautiful fine ramification, that delicate network of tiny branches, relatively quickly. Trident maple is slower but produces outstanding fall color and develops impressive nebari over time. Raw material is where your costs live. You have several options. You can buy pre-bonsai nursery stock, young trees with decent trunk thickness that need training but have years of development ahead. You can collect wild material, called yamadori, from roadsides, clearings, or private land with permission. Wild collected trees already have years of natural growth behind them, often gnarly trunks and interesting movement that would take decades to develop intentionally. That character is valuable, and collecting it costs you almost nothing except time and a decent root hook. The tools are simple and long-lasting. concave cutters, branch benders, wire in a few gauges, and good quality pots once your trees are ready for display containers. The ongoing work is meditative rather than intensive. Wiring branches into position, light pruning to develop ramification, repotting every 2 to 3 years as roots develop. Where do bonsai sell? Local bonsai club sales and garden shows are traditional venues with knowledgeable buyers willing to pay properly. Etsy has become a genuinely strong channel. Well-photographed starter trees and intermediate specimens in the $50 to $150 range ship well and move consistently. Locally, nurseries sometimes take bonsai on consignment at a healthy markup. The thing about bonsai that separates it from every other crop here is that time works entirely in your favor. Every other product on this list is grown, harvested, and sold. With bonsai, unsold inventory is not a loss, it's appreciation. A tree that didn't sell this year is worth more next year, and more the year after that. Start now. In 5 years, you'll wish you had started sooner. Plant 5. Special Thai herbs, farm-to-table premium market. There's a version of the herb business that makes almost no money, and a version that makes very good money. The difference between them is not the amount of land you grow on or how hard you work. The difference is which herbs you grow and who you sell them to. The version that doesn't work is growing grocery store herbs, standard basil, flat leaf parsley, common thyme, and trying to compete with industrial growers who supply supermarkets by the truckload. You cannot win that game on a backyard scale. The margins are too thin and the volume required is too high. The version that works is finding what chefs cannot source through their regular distributors and growing exactly that. Here's a short list of herbs that fall into that category: Thai basil, Vietnamese coriander, shiso, lemon verbena, French tarragon, lovage sorrel, tulsi, bronze fennel, summer savory, lemon balm, and Wakakan green dill. Most of these are completely unavailable through commercial distributors in fresh form. A chef in a mid-sized city who wants fresh shiso for a Japanese-inspired dish either grows it themselves, drives an hour to find it, or pays a premium to someone reliable who can bring it weekly. You want to be that person. The economics work because herbs are a high-density crop. A 4x8 raised bed, 32 square feet, managed well through a growing season, produces 25 to 35 pounds of mixed herbs. That seems modest until you consider the price per pound. A mixed specialty herb box sold directly to a restaurant, say 10 to 15 varieties, a quarter pound each, routinely commands $40 to $80 per delivery. A single restaurant paying $60 a week for a standing herb order is worth $3,000 a year, from one raised bed, one account, and a weekly 10-minute drive. Most serious specialty herb growers work with 3 to 5 restaurant accounts simultaneously, plus a farmer's market presence during peak season. That combination, steady restaurant income year-round supplemented by higher-margin retail sales in summer, creates a genuinely stable income picture from a surprisingly small, growing area. Building restaurant relationships is the skill the growing doesn't teach you, and it's worth addressing directly. Walk into restaurants during slow hours, mid-afternoon between lunch and dinner service. Ask for the chef, not a server. Bring a small box of 4 or 5 unusual fresh herbs labeled with a brief note on flavor profile and suggested uses. Don't pitch, just offer. Let the quality speak. Chefs are sensory people. Hand a good chef a sprig of fresh lemon verbena and watch their face. That's your pitch. They will ask you questions. They will tell you what they wish they could get. That conversation is your planting list for next season. Growing specialty herbs is not complicated, but there are things worth knowing. Many of the most valuable varieties, French tarragon, for example, cannot be grown from seed and must be propagated from cuttings or divisions. This is actually an advantage once you have established plants, because you can multiply your stock indefinitely at almost zero cost. Lemon verbena is a tender perennial in most climates. It needs to overwinter in a container in cold regions, but it grows vigorously and produces enormous harvests through summer. Shiso self-seeds prolifically once established, meaning your second year of growing it is essentially free. Grow what's rare. Sell to people who truly value it. The specialty herb market rewards growers who do their homework and build real relationships, and it punishes no one for starting small. Plant 6, Xermit garlic. Simple to grow, surprisingly lucrative. Of all the crops on this list, gourmet garlic might be the most underestimated. It's not glamorous. It doesn't require technical skill or specialized equipment. The growing process is almost boring in how straightforward it is, and yet, pound for pound, it represents one of the most dramatic gaps between what something costs at a grocery store and what the right version of it sells for at a farmer's market. Standard grocery store garlic, the kind that comes in a mesh bag from China or South America, that's been in cold storage for months and tastes vaguely of garlic, sells for $2 to $3 a pound. Quality hardneck gourmet garlic at a well-run farmer's market, $12 to $18 a pound. Sometimes more for particularly sought-after varieties. That's a price premium of 5 to 8 times for a crop that's fundamentally the same vegetable, grown differently. That gap exists because most people don't know what garlic can actually taste like. But once they do, they won't go back. Hardneck garlic is the variety category that commands premium prices. Within that category, the 3 varieties worth knowing are Rocambole, Purple Stripe, and Porcelain. Rocambole is considered by most serious garlic growers and chefs to be the finest tasting garlic available. Rich, complex, almost wine-like in depth, with a heat that blooms slowly and doesn't linger harshly. Purple Stripe varieties are intensely aromatic, beautiful in appearance, and exceptional for roasting. Porcelain varieties, Music and German White, are popular cultivars, produce large, clean bulbs with bold, strong flavor and excellent storage life. The growing cycle is unlike most other crops. You plant garlic in the fall, typically October through early November, right when your garden would otherwise be going to sleep for the season. The cloves go in about 2 inches deep and 6 inches apart, pointed end up. They spend the winter establishing roots in cold soil, push up green shoots in early spring, and are ready to harvest when the lower leaves have browned, usually late June or July, depending on your climate. That means garlic is growing and doing its work without demanding much from you. You mulch it in late fall, give it 1 or 2 side dressings of nitrogen in early spring, and largely leave it alone. For most growers, the active labor is maybe 2 or 3 hours per bed across the entire season. Here's the bonus product most new garlic growers don't know about until their first season: scapes. Hardneck garlic sends up a curling, flowering stalk in early summer, about a month before harvest. You snap those off to redirect the plant's energy into the bulb. Those scapes are themselves a premium product. Bundled and brought to market, garlic scapes sell for $4 to $8 per bundle. Chefs love them. Home cooks who've discovered pesto made from garlic scapes are fiercely loyal buyers. 1 pound of quality seed garlic, which is just garlic reserved for planting, produces 6 to 8 pounds of harvestable bulbs under good conditions. At $15 a pound, that return is substantial on a low investment of time and materials. The final advantage with garlic is its storage life. Cured properly, hung in a cool, dry, well-ventilated space for 3 to 4 weeks after harvest, garlic holds for 6 to 9 months. You can sell at the farmer's market through November, December, even into the new year, long after most other vendors have packed up for the season. Less competition, loyal customers, and a product that keeps improving as it cures. Garlic is simple. It is patient. And it rewards growers who treat that simplicity with respect.